3rd of May at Bistritz. That's how it begins. My name is Jonathan Harker. I'm an English solicitor sent on a business journey across Europe. A nobleman from the distant land of Transylvania, had requested legal support for a new estate in London. Count Dracula was his name. I thought it would be a routine assignment. I was wrong. I departed Munich, then Vienna, Budapest. Budapest seems a wonderful place from the glimpse which I got of it from the train. Every city more unfamiliar than the last. But as the train groaned eastward, the civilized world melted behind me. Steel gave way to stone, and stone gave way to myth. The bridges spanned more than rivers. They crossed into another world, one where history is remembered in blood. Nightfall brought me to Klausenberg, where I stayed the night. Dinner, paprika hen, a chicken dish spiced with red pepper. Unfamiliar, but delicious. I heard that it was a national dish. I should be able to get it anywhere along the Carpathians. The people were courteous, but distant, and my presence noticed. The further east I traveled, the more I felt it. The weight of superstition, the silence of old fears not yet spoken. Before leaving England, I had studied the region. Castle Dracula, surprisingly no precise map. Only legends. It lay in a place where 3 borders meet, Transylvania, Moldavia, and Bukovina, hidden deep within the Carpathian Mountains. But I found that Bistritz, the post town named by Count Dracula, is a fairly well-known place. I shall enter here some of my notes, including the paprika hen, as they may refresh my memory when I talk over my travels with Mina. One guidebook said it best.
Every known superstition gathers like a storm in the horseshoe of the Carpathians, as if drawn to some center of fear.
I did not sleep well, though my bed was comfortable enough, for I had all sorts of queer dreams. That night, I dreamt of shadows and distant howls. A dog cried beneath my window. Was it the paprika or the air? I woke thirsty, uneasy. This journey was beginning to stain my thoughts. I had to hurry my breakfast, for the train started a little before 8. Rushing to the station at 7:30, I had to sit in the carriage for more than an hour before we began to move. Transylvania is beautiful, with a beautiful landscape of rolling hills and dense forests under a partly cloudy sky. In the distance, a steep hill with a medieval castle or small town perched on top, rendered in the style of an old missal. I am in love with this landscape. At every station there were groups of people, sometimes crowds, and in all sorts of attire. Some of them were just like the peasants at home. The women looked pretty, except when you got near them. They looked clumsy. I arrived at Bistritz the next evening. Count Dracula had directed me to go to the Golden Krone Hotel. The Golden Krone Hotel was humble, but comforting, and as I entered, an elderly woman greeted me with a strange warmth.
The Herr Englishman?
Yes, I replied, Jonathan Harker. She smiled, but there was fear in her eyes. She gave some message to an elderly man in white shirt sleeves who had followed her to the door. He went, but immediately returned with a letter.
My friend, welcome to the Carpathians. I am anxiously expecting you. Sleep well tonight. At 3 tomorrow the diligence will start for Bukovina. A place on it is kept for you. At the Borgo Pass my carriage will await you and will bring you to me. I trust that your journey from London has been a happy one, and that you will enjoy your stay in my beautiful land. Your friend, Dracula.
I had my own questions about the Count, but questions about the Count were met with silence and fear. I pressed the landlord. He pretended not to understand my German, though he had understood me just hours earlier. When I mentioned Dracula's name, they crossed themselves and refused to speak. Moments before departure, the old woman came to me again, trembling.
Must you go? Oh, young her, must you go? Do you know what day it is?
I told her, the 4th of May. She gasped.
The eve of St. George's Day.
She cried.
When the clock strikes midnight, all evil things in the world are free.
She begged me to delay, just one day, but I was bound by duty. As I gathered my things, she placed a crucifix around my neck.
For your mother's sake,
she said, and disappeared into the dark. I'm not feeling nearly as easy in my mind as usual. Here comes the coach. Before I left Bistritz, I dined on what they called robber steak, bits of bacon, onion, and beef, seasoned with red pepper and strung on sticks and roasted over the fire in the simple style of the London cat's meat. The wine was golden meaty ash, which produces a queer sting on the tongue. When I got on the coach, the driver had not taken his seat, and I saw him talking with the landlady. They were evidently talking of me, for every now and then they looked at me. They all whispered different names, something that is either werewolf or vampire. All made the sign of the cross and pointed 2 fingers towards me. My fellow passenger said that it was a charm or guard against the evil eye. The coach departed at dawn, through the middle land, rolling green hills, blooming fruit trees, towering forests. One of my co-passengers said,
"Look, God's seat."
and he crossed himself reverently. The snowy mountaintop still held the sunset and seemed to glow out with a delicate cool pink. By the roadside were many crosses, and as we swept by, my companions all crossed themselves. Here and there was a peasant man or woman kneeling before a shrine, who did not even turn round as we approached. Sometimes the hills were so steep that, despite our driver's haste, the horses could only go slowly. I wished to walk, but the driver warned me.
No, no. You must not walk here. The dogs are too fierce.
Then through the darkness, I could see a sort of patch of gray light ahead of us, as though there were a cleft in the hills. When we reached the Borgo Pass, several of my passengers gave me small charms. A crucifix, a bag of garlic. Protection, they called it. Protection from what? The sun sank behind the jagged peaks. The forest darkened. The air grew colder. Our driver grew frantic, urging the horses with savage force. The driver said,
There is no carriage here. The her is not expected after all. He will now come on to Bukovina and return tomorrow or the next day. Better the next day.
I felt something was coming, something unseen but near. Then, out of the dark, a black carriage, for coal-black horses, driven by a tall man whose face I could not see, only the gleam of eyes that burned.
"You are early tonight, my friend,"
he said to our coachman.
"You cannot deceive me. My horses are swift."
As he spoke, he smiled, and the lamplight fell on a hard-looking mouth with very red lips and sharp-looking teeth as white as ivory. Without a word, he took my bags, his grip like steel. Without a word, he shook his reins, the horses turned, and we swept into the darkness of the pass. As I looked back, I saw the steam from the horses of the coach by the light of the lamps, and projected against it the figures of my late companions crossing themselves. Then the driver cracked his whip and called to his horses, and off they swept on their way to Bukovina. As they sank into the darkness, I felt a strange chill, and a lonely feeling came over me, but a cloak was thrown over my shoulders, and a rug across my knees. We sped through the forest. Howls echoed around us, wolves in every direction. Then, blue flames appeared in the woods, strange, flickering lights. Each time the driver saw one, he at once checked the horses, and, jumping to the ground, disappeared into the darkness. I did not know what to do, the less as the howling of the wolves grew closer, but while I wondered, the driver suddenly appeared again, and without a word took his seat, and we resumed our journey. Once, he passed before the flame, yet it shone through him, as if he cast no shadow. I wanted to ask what it meant, but fear froze my lips. Then the wolves came, a living ring of fur and fangs. Their red tongues dripped. Their eyes glowed in silence. We were surrounded, but then he returned. The driver stood in the road, and with one sweeping motion of his arms, the wolves fled. They obeyed him. We climbed higher. The road coiled like a serpent, and then, through a break in the clouds, I saw it. Castle Dracula. A towering ruin, black as night. No lights, no movement, only silence. My journey was over, but the true nightmare had just begun.